Hi folks, hope you're doing well. It's nearly 7 p.m. on the 26th of August 2020. Well, there's a number of topics to speak about tonight. Well, to be a good citizen, looking at it from that point of view. I've spoken before about how the education system has been redesigned to create repeaters, people that can best repeat what they've already been told. So that's what an exam is. You get an A for the most accurate repeating of what you've been told before. That's what exams are. But the reason is because they want people in society to simply repeat what they're told. So what the government tell them is important, people will just repeat that. They won't question it, they just repeat it. They just regurgitate the rubbish without actually thinking about it. Now, there's a way they do this. They keep you subservient by a number of means, as in being a good citizen. You're taught that for two things. If you don't work, you're a useless member of society. Right? So that's the first point. If you don't work, you're a useless member of society. So therefore, it's important to work. It's important to pay your taxes. It's important to do your daily duty, which is to work, pay your taxes, do all the things that a nice little citizen should be doing. So if you're not working, you won't challenge the government because of the fact that you are seen by society as worthless. So if you're worthless, what would you be doing challenging the government? So as soon as you start challenging the government, you'll shut up because society says, back down you're worthless. You don't even work, so why should we listen to you? Now, you're probably the less educated. The people that didn't really repeat very well what they were told. So you're probably the ones who can actually think, even though you often don't. Let's be fair. The people who are jobless for decades and decades are people that probably didn't get a good education. If they didn't get a good education, it means that they're at least able to think for themselves. But they don't. And why don't they? Again, you have daytime TV. You have the Sun and the Star newspapers, which are as dumb as you could possibly find. They are designed to keep those people who probably can think for themselves to not actually think for themselves, because they fill their heads with such stupidity and such rubbish. They're not exactly going to be people that watch the news, because they've got used to watching daytime TV, which is utter rubbish. And they've got used to reading these papers that are also utter rubbish, that are basically celebrity gossip and, pinpointing this out of order citizen and just saying, well, at least you're not as bad as that person. And they buy it. Because, of course, they're not working, so society says you are bad. But then the newspaper they read says, at least you're not as bad as this person. They're like, yeah, at least we're not as bad as that person. So they go and gossip about that person because at least we're not as bad as that person. They buy into that completely because then that puts them above somebody. And yeah, we don't want to be the bottom of the pack, do we, really? So you have all that. The workers. Then we look at the workers. The workers are, generally speaking, knackered. Absolutely knackered. They have to work a lot of hours because of the fact there are, nowadays certainly, they're renting properties and they're spending a fortune on rent. because the system has been encouraged to have the rent prices go sky flipping high, so that people have to work every hour in the day to be able to afford the rent. So that means that parents aren't spending time with children. Couples aren't spending time together. Even those that are spending time together really aren't spending decent quality time together because they're knackered. And this is by design. So you've got to understand that governments have, for decades and decades and decades, been looking at how to get a society more subservient to them, more serving their will. How to do that? I've mentioned before about problem, reaction, and solution, the techniques that the government uses to get the public to demand the government do what they want to already do. Again, renting is another key factor in having a subservient society that doesn't challenge the government. Because when you own a property, you are in ownership. So therefore, local issues seem to matter a damn sight more because you have ownership in the local area. So then local issues then become national issues, which can then become international issues that are now on your mind. You are more likely to try and hold the government to account because you now have ownership. When you're renting, you don't have ownership. You live in a certain location. It doesn't mean you will do in a year or 2 years' time. So local issues don't matter to you because they're not really your issues because you might not be here in 6 months' time. So therefore, why start getting invested in trying to improve things locally? Because by the time they improve, you could be gone to another area that needs a lot of work. And by the time you get that area working on things, you might be gone from them there as well. But when you own, no, then it matters. Because even if you're going to leave, you want to sell that property to somebody. So you want the area to improve so that when you look to sell the property, your house price will go up rather than down because society around you will improve or will have improved because you've taken ownership and you've tried to encourage things to improve. Amber, quiet. As soon as I start doing video, they start scratching. Amber, picking up, nutter. Quiet down, bub. So, anyway, yeah. So there's the issue of taking ownership. Yeah. I say these things are all designed to create a society of people that are completely subservient to the government or the ideas of the government. Like in Scotland, you have the SNP, who are basically local government in Scotland. And most people are subservient to them. Although they don't really know their policies because they don't really have any. The only policy really is independence. In the UK, in the rest of the UK, you have Labour, you have Conservative, which are the main two parties. Labour are in a complete mess after the last election. They lost so many seats. It was incredible. Liberal Democrats, I didn't mention them as one of the parties because they lost, I think they got about 12 representatives now. They did have a few hundred, now they've got 12. Oh, they did awful. Well, that's because Joe Swinson was an absolute nutcase. Started saying she had a chance of winning the election, which clearly she did not. And that turned a lot of people off. Who wants to vote for someone who's a complete idiot? So someone saying things like that, of course you're not going to vote for that person. They're deluded. So you can't mention them. So, yeah. How to deal with that? Well, don't know. Not easy. Not in any way, shape, or form. Hopefully, God will get the churches right and, light can be shone on the darkness, and the darkness can be broken to a certain degree, because it certainly is darkness when you've got people subservient to the country, to the government of the country. That's bad, really bad. So that's issue number one. Issue number two, I knew it. When I gave that car, the 2006 one, a test drive, I knew I should have walked away. I said to my friend, go back to the car. The owner of the car was away. He was back in his house for a minute. My friend was waiting. And when I pulled up, I said to him, I don't think so. I said the brakes are quite squishy. Yeah, it's weird. It's not the same as the other one I had. I don't like it, particularly. And then my friend and the bloke started saying, oh, but you can take the engine out of this one and put it in the other one. That's the reason why you're buying it, which of course can't do. So £600 completely bloody wasted. But then when I brought it up to my friend today, he was working on the car and he's found so much. I think the front struts on left and right completely corroded away. Certainly where the struts are being supported by the metalwork of the car, the metalwork is gone. Just big holes there, rusted away completely. How on earth it got through? It was auctioned. The bloke I got it from an auction. He knew exactly what he was doing. So don't know what to do there. I could open up a small claims case, but again, we're in blinking COVID, so that probably wouldn't happen. So what to do there? I don't know. Again, it's something I can look at. What to do about it, I don't know. Maybe speak to a solicitor. The only problem is that with that, I can't find the original advert for the car, because I can't find the original advert for the car. If I could find that, then I would have some room for manoeuvre. But I was pretty sure I had that. But problem is, where would it be? I just don't know. I may have it, I may not have it. I don't know. All the folders it would normally be in is not there. So they're not in the folders they would normally be in. So I don't know. I don't think I have the advert anymore, which is really annoying. So if I had that, then I can actually prove that he lied. When he advertised the car, he lied about the condition of it. But without the advert, I can't prove he lied. My friend said he would have a look to see if he can find the advert. If he can find it, then maybe. But I've looked and I can't find it. So there you go. There's quite a few folders that I would put stuff, so it's difficult. Yeah. In the end, it is what it is. So, I mean, it's quite likely it's another £600 completely wasted. Just thrown away again, which is really annoying. Well, especially as I said to my friend on the way up, can you make sure you give the car a complete look over? He went, yeah, no problem, I'll do that. If he had done that, we'd have walked away from the car. I mean, plus it's a case where I didn't even realise the car had such an incredibly short MOT. 5 weeks. Basically, at the time of picking it up, 6 weeks of MOT it had. Now, my friend has always said, don't get a car with basically hardly any MOT. And yet, he was the one who pushed me towards this car. So I thought, well, quite likely he's actually got that, hasn't he, really? So, yeah. It was me thinking he probably had it. No, he didn't. So I've looked everywhere. I can't seem to find the advert. Now, my friend may find the advert. And weirdly, even the other car. Like today, I was speaking to my friend about the other car. Because he was out earlier. He came, when he phoned me up, he then said, "Oh, there's a chap, Charlie Wilson, who's a mechanic in Keith." He said, "This Charlie Wilson says, he'd be happy to look at the car. It put it through the diagnostic system and come back with what the problem is." But he says he'd be happy to do that. Just give him a call. He said, "I've told him everything that was going on with the car." Okay. So I phoned up this Charlie Wilson, told him about the car. Within no time at all, he said, "I don't want the job." He said, "I'm not interested in doing that job at all." But then why did you tell someone else, my friend, that you were interested in doing the job? Well, then about 3 or 4 days ago, my friend initially said that friends of a friend of his, or relatives of a friend of his, have a garage and they do car work. So they might be able to do the car, the 2008 one. But then he said they're not interested in doing it. Then yesterday, he said they're interested, that they'll be happy to have a look at the car. These are the same people that weren't interested. So why are they suddenly interested? Are they thinking that they can, maybe fix the car, but do a ton more work on it and pretend that, it costs £1,000 to fix rather than £200? Because otherwise, why would they say they weren't interested? Now they are. It doesn't make sense. Only 3 days later. Nothing's changed with the situation of the car. Nothing at all. Yeah, I don't know. As I say, I'm not a car person, so because I'm not a car person, I don't know. I don't know what the best thing to do with it would be, really. If the people that are friend or relatives of a friend of my friend, then if they want to check the car, they can do so. Absolutely. If they want to, then they can do it. Of course, my concern is they're going to then come back with a bill for doing that. And how much that's going to be is a problem. Because that made me laugh, actually, with my friend as well. When he gave me the number of this Charles Wilson, he said, "Phone him up and get a quote. Just get a quote, and how much will it cost for him to have a look at it, etc., etc." And I said about this, the relatives of a friend, I said, "Well, we need to get a quote from them, how much it costs." "No, you don't need to do that. They're happy to have a look at it." Yeah, but generally speaking, they're going to come back and say, "Oh, you need to pay us. We did work on your car. We did this, we did that, trying to find the problem. So you need to pay us for our time." And rightly so. So they should. Yeah. I don't know. It's a pain. I mean, don't know. What I'm going to try and do is get my friend to phone up the person we've got the 2006 car from on Saturday and explain to him what the issues are with it. And then explain that he needs to give us our money back. Otherwise, small claims case will have to be opened. Although the problem is, again, as I say, COVID. We have a COVID situation, so quite likely the courts won't be open, for small claims cases, in which case that's the problem. Yeah. Well, I've got the person's address that I got the car from. I'm pretty sure I might have got the person's name as well. In which case, if I can file a small claims case, then I can put his details down. In which case, the courts can contact him about it. But yeah, we will need, if possible, to find the details of the advert. I mean, certainly the advert wasn't sold as spares or repairs. It was sold as a car that was roadworthy with just a little bit of need of some welding. Yeah, not a little bit of need of some welding, some major need. Well, like my friend said, there's various bits under the bonnet that would have to be removed so that the welding can be done. Both sides. The bits above both wheels, front wheels. In that area there. Yeah, big holes. And you'd have to remove the bits because you can't have flame going through there into those parts. So, how much is that going to cost to do? I mean, you've got the welding itself, plus you've got the removing of parts and putting back of parts, and there's a lot of welding to be done. If I get a garage to do it, you're looking at 400 maybe to get that done, which is a lot of money. Yeah, that's a lot of money. So right. Yep. That's not good in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, there you go. It is what it is. No idea. I've still haven't decided what to do about the sheriff meal. I think I've got to call RAC, because RAC are the ones who basically use sheriff meal as a breakdown recovery. So I'm going to have to speak to them about it maybe as well. Don't know. It's a tricky thing really, because obviously sheriff meal shouldn't have been charging me that much money, because they didn't really do anything. I don't know what on earth they did. They're supposed when you ring them up, they have this answer phone message or automated message saying that they use the best tools and the best systems to diagnose problems. Really? If they would have used a diagnostic tool on my car, they would probably have at least found out what the problem was, or certainly what the problem wasn't. So why they would need to spend 3.5 hours working on the car trying to find the problem and still not finding anything, but guessing it's probably the chain, the drivetrain that's stretched. Based on what exactly? Yeah, there's 101 different possibilities, or if not more, with what could have caused the car not to actually start. Tons of possibilities. And £216, it looks like they didn't use a diagnostic software, to be able to find what the problem was. So maybe they were just trying to rack up the hours just so they could charge more money. I don't know. It seems to be the case, doesn't it, really? Let's say I don't know. Still, there you go. That'll do for now. I mentioned a few subjects. I said there's a few subjects, so there you go. So car situation is just annoying. To a certain degree, it's quite tempting just to say, right, okay, count both of those cars as a loss. Scrap them both. Go and get something else for now. That I can just get the dogs into, and that'll do. I don't know. I mean, the problem is, spending cheap. I did a video recently about saying, don't spend too much money on a car, but then you get something like this £600 one. Yeah, that is an awful car. Really bad. If that car is driven in a way that is even slightly dodgy, or you go over a speed bump, bits could fall off that you really wouldn't want falling off. Important bits. So, bits under the bonnet could just fall through. The really great big hole that's there. So, it's what it is. But as I say, to a certain degree, it's tempting just to say, sod it. Scrap the both of them. And scrap them now. Get them out of the way. Focus attention on, just getting a car that's going to be a half decent car that I can drive. It's got a pretty decent MOT. Because even that one, a 2006, it might not be quite as bad as my friend was saying, because he was one saying, be careful when you're driving it because things could just fall through. But maybe it's not quite that bad. But the fact of the matter is, it's got an MOT due in five weeks' time. As it stands, there is no way, shape, or form that's going to pass an MOT. No way, shape, or form. And to sort those things out, 500-600 quid to do so, 400 to 500 quid to do so, the car isn't worth it. I mean, you might make money back. You might just about make your money back if you spend that much. Just about. Because that was another thing. Even on the ad, you had 120,000 miles. I'm pretty sure it's 120,000 miles. It's actually 133,000 miles. The bloke then told my friend when we were there, it's got half a tank of fuel. It hasn't. It's just above red. So, I don't know. Anyway, that'll do. You take care. God bless, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.